Hi, welcome to Listen2Riches. Today, I am going to talk about Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This book remains a top-selling book because it doesn't follow short-lived trends or popular psychology ideas. Instead, it centers around timeless principles of fairness, integrity, honesty, and human dignity, considered one of the most captivating books ever penned. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People has been a source of empowerment and motivation for more than 30 years. Its impact has reached people of all ages and professions, catalyzing transformative changes in millions of lives. No matter how skilled an individual might be, achieving enduring success requires the ability to guide oneself, influence, and collaborate with others, and consistently enhance and refresh one's abilities. These core aspects are the central components of effectiveness in personal growth, team dynamics, and organizational excellence. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People explains how you can transform your life by shifting your way of thinking. Your perspective on the world is shaped by your own outlook, and by adopting a perspective that leads to action, you can bring about changes in your life and the lives of those around you. In simple terms, if you desire to improve your current situation, you must first master the art of self-transformation and altering your viewpoints. The way you perceive a problem can itself be the problem, which is why it's crucial to completely reshape your thought patterns to experience genuine personal growth. Covey not only guides you in embracing a fresh mindset but also in being proactive and concentrating on vital tasks. Ultimately, assimilating the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People equips you to modify your mindset and consequently transform your life. Everyone desires success. But what makes others succeed and others fail? To begin, how do we even define success? While some might think they've achieved success in terms of money, they might discover gaps in other aspects of life, such as relationships or personal growth. Through a deep exploration of 2 centuries of literature, Covey observed that the idea of success has transformed significantly. Before 1920, success was associated with qualities like integrity, humility, and courage, which stem from one's character. However, modern success is often linked to personality traits such as public image, attitude, and persona. Achieving genuine success and creating meaningful change requires more than quick fixes. Instead, you must delve into the root causes, be open to a profound shift in mindset, undergo essential personal changes, and embrace the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People embarks on a journey that starts from within, focusing on the inside-out approach. In our society, we often create a polished facade on social media to showcase happiness and perfection. However, social media only reveals the highlights, concealing our internal struggles. Stephen Covey urges readers to ponder upon their true life values. Imagine if everything vanished tomorrow, what would you truly yearn for? Would social media followers make the list? Probably not. So, how does pinpointing these values enhance your life? It fosters self-improvement from the inside out. Before revolutionizing your life, it's vital to delve deep within, recognizing your fundamental habits and beliefs. These principles are the bedrock of your character, guiding you toward your aspirations. Principles like fairness, honesty, and integrity are well-regarded guides toward success. On the contrary, principles like selfishness and deceit can lead to failure. Principles operate as natural laws. You reap what you sow. Thus, it's crucial to assess your core principles and ascertain if your moral compass aligns with nature. Much like following a map through a city, we rely on paradigms to navigate life. A paradigm is a personal framework shaping how we perceive the world around us. Our entire comprehension is molded by these paradigms. For instance, a person with a negative paradigm might view a rainy day as dreary and bothersome. Conversely, someone with a positive paradigm might see a rainy day as an opportunity for growth and nourishment for nature. When aiming for enduring changes, altering our paradigm is paramount. Once paradigms shift, character, habits, and behaviors can follow suit. This shift in character underscores the significance of recognizing and monitoring your own paradigms. Some may restrain you from reaching your goals. A revelatory paradigm shift happened to author Stephen Covey on a New York City subway. Amidst a calm scene of readers and resting passengers, an agitated man entered with his unruly children, disrupting the peace. Covey, irritated, asked the man to control his children. The man, fatigued and disheartened, explained that his wife had just passed away, leaving them all in shock. Covey's paradigm rapidly transformed from annoyance to compassion, driven by a desire to assist. Paradigm shifts can reshape your perspective about situations. While not all shifts will be as swift as Covey's subway experience, each holds the potential to catalyze impactful changes in your life, in contrast to the veneer of flawlessness often projected on social media. This book aids in identifying those very imperfections. By recognizing your core issues, you can examine them from various angles, uncovering their vulnerabilities. Through inside-out growth and habit adjustment, you can uplift your life. Habit number 1: be proactive. Imagine life as a book with empty pages. If you could write your own story, what would you choose? If your life were to end today, what tales would that book hold? Would it tell of someone who achieved little due to circumstances? Or would it recount the journey of a person who acted despite challenges? Here's where the first principle comes in: the principle of ownership. We have the power to steer our lives. It's tempting to blame others for our situation, but that gets us nowhere. Saying it's not my fault or I had no control might feel reassuring, but when we embrace ownership, a shift occurs. This principle makes us acknowledge that we've allowed things to happen, yet it also empowers us to claim our successes. This shift in perspective initiates the first habit: being proactive. Proactive individuals take charge. They take responsibility for their lives and embrace ownership. For instance, they don't wait for a health issue to make positive lifestyle changes. They don't rely solely on instructions from their boss. Instead, they identify problems and seek solutions. They actively listen to others and don't wait for conflicts to communicate effectively. To differentiate between proactive and reactive people, visualize a circle of concern. This circle encompasses your worries, maybe about bills or travel. Within it lies the circle of influence, representing things you can control. Reactive folks concentrate on the circle of concern, while proactive ones focus on the circle of influence. Proactive individuals narrow their circle of concern by concentrating on what they can change. Language is a way to start taking ownership. Proactive language includes I will, I can, and I prefer. Reactive language involves I can't, I have to, and if only. Reactives avoid responsibility for their words and actions. So instead of saying he makes me so mad, shift to I control my feelings, and move from reactivity to proactivity. Once you grasp that your book is blank, you can fill it as you wish. Shift your focus from blaming to finding solutions. Change your reactions to life's challenges. Embrace responsibility, own your choices, and fill your pages with tales of someone who took action. Habit number 2: begin with the end in mind. Imagine you're starting to build a house from scratch. How would you begin? You'd probably start by picturing how you want the house to look, right? You'd plan the layout and think about all the details. Then, construction workers would follow the plan to start building. Without this plan, mistakes might happen. They could forget something important, like stairs. Now, think of your life as a plan. What's your final goal? What do you want to achieve? Planning is important for success in any project, even your life. This is where the principle of direction comes in. To begin with the end in mind, you need a direction. Just like building a home needs direction for success. Effective people don't just work hard and hope success happens. They have a sense of where they're going. But how can you find that direction? Well, try this. Imagine it's 30 days from now and your friends and family are at your funeral. What would you want them to say about you? What are they saying about how you lived your life? Figuring out what you want people to remember about you helps you understand what matters most in your life. You might be centered around family, money, work, or yourself. By thinking about the end of your life, you can decide how you want to live. When you answer these questions, you create a personal mission statement. This is the first step to use habit 2 effectively. Your mission statement acts like a compass, guiding you to take the right steps for your personal success and happiness. But writing a mission statement isn't something you can finish in one night. It takes time, patience, and deep thinking. Just like drafting a blueprint, you might need to make several versions. Imagine your mission statement as the blueprint for your life. This will help you take purposeful actions. Just as each brick has a role in building a house, your actions should also have a purpose in helping you reach your ultimate goals. Habit number 3, put first things first. Now that you've figured out your values and principles, how can you start taking action and actually live by those principles? This is where habit 3 comes into play. Put first things first. Have you ever planned out your week, only to find yourself wasting time on things that don't really matter? It's like you have no control over all the phone calls, meetings, and interruptions that keep you from achieving your real goals. You might have tried time management techniques, but many of them focus on being efficient, not necessarily effective. So, what's the solution? It's about prioritizing and making sure you do the most important things first. Put aside everything else and tackle those important tasks later. While this might sound simple, you might struggle with figuring out which tasks are truly important and which are just time wasters. Luckily, Covey has a tool that can help you with that. It's called the Time Management Matrix, and it's more effective than just making a regular to-do list. By sorting your tasks based on how urgent and how important they are, you create a 2x2 grid. Quadrant 1 is for tasks that are both urgent and important. These are things that might feel like emergencies and need immediate attention. It could be a project with a deadline or a sudden crisis like a fire. Quadrant 2 is for tasks that are important but not urgent. This is the most crucial quadrant. These tasks are super important to you. They include building relationships, planning, and working toward long-term goals. Spend your time on actions that focus on these tasks. For example, if you want better relationships, spend your car ride calling a friend instead of just listening to music or a podcast. Quadrant 3 is for tasks that are not important but still urgent. These are things that pop up and demand your attention, like phone calls or last-minute meetings. If you focus too much on these tasks, you end up letting other people's priorities control your time. Quadrant 4 is for tasks that aren't important and also not urgent. These are things that are complete time wasters, like binge watching a TV series or mindlessly scrolling through social media when you should be working. So, why focus on Quadrant 2? As we mentioned earlier, these tasks are the ones that really matter to you. They involve building relationships, planning for the future, staying healthy, and preparing. All the things that deeply affect your happiness, but you often put them off because you think you're too busy. How can you make time for them? By learning to say no to other things. Say no to tasks that seem urgent but don't actually matter and learn to delegate effectively. By prioritizing Quadrant 2, you start approaching tasks from the inside out. You begin with your core principles, and when challenges arise, you see them as parts of a bigger picture instead of just isolated issues. For example, Covey worked with shopping center managers who knew that building relationships with store owners was important, but they hardly spent any time on it. They were mostly caught up in urgent tasks like answering emails and attending meetings. When they shifted to spending more time on relationships, the impact was massive. Satisfaction and lease revenue increased. They made Quadrant 2 a priority and changed their perspective on Quadrant 1 tasks, seeing them as pieces of the puzzle. They also learned to say no to tasks that weren't important. To start with habit 3. The best way is to create your own matrix and find the Quadrant 2 tasks you've been neglecting. Commit to working on these tasks and start prioritizing your actions. Habit number 4, think win-win. Is life truly a ruthless competition where you must lie and cheat to get ahead? Do you agree with this belief? If you're resorting to dishonesty and deceit, doesn't that contradict your values of honesty and integrity? Unfortunately, this perspective is quite prevalent today. Many think that winning requires others to lose. But what if I told you that life doesn't have to be this way? It doesn't have to be a competition where only one side succeeds. Instead, life can be a win-win situation, benefiting both parties. By embracing a win-win mindset, you can foster successful relationships built on interdependence. Adopting a win-win mindset might mean changing how you see interactions between people. Stephen Covey explains 6 different perspectives, or paradigms, on this matter. The first is the win-win paradigm, where both parties come out as winners. Issues are resolved by finding solutions that satisfy both sides. The second is the win-lose paradigm, where one person wins while the other loses. People with this mindset use their influence, position, and credentials to ensure they get what they want. The third is the lose-win paradigm, where one person allows the other to win, even at their own expense. These individuals seek acceptance and popularity. The fourth is the lose-lose paradigm, where both parties end up losing. When two win-lose or strong-willed individuals negotiate, it often results in a lose-lose situation. The fifth is the win paradigm, where one person is focused on their own victory, regardless of the impact on the other party. The final paradigm is the win-win or no-deal approach, where both parties believe that if they can't find a solution that benefits both, then they won't proceed with the deal. When seeking solutions, it's crucial to ensure they align with your principles. This illustrates the principle of abundance. This principle involves having an abundance mentality, where you believe there's more than enough for everyone. The opposite is the scarcity mentality, where winning means someone else must lose. In other words, it's the idea that there's only room for one at the top. Embracing the win-win mindset can lead to building positive relationships. Instead of undermining one side, you strengthen both. A helpful exercise is identifying a relationship that could benefit from a win-win solution. Put yourself in the other person's shoes and think about what they would consider a win. Then, consider what you would view as a win. Try to develop a solution that allows both sides to gain something beneficial. Habit number 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Imagine visiting an eye doctor because you're having trouble seeing distant signs. Now, picture the doctor taking off their own glasses and handing them to you, saying, "These have worked for me for years. Give them a try, they should work for you too." Without any questions or tests, the doctor suggests a simple solution that probably won't help. You wouldn't want to go back to such a doctor, right? Trust would be hard to find in that situation. Now, consider a tough period in your life, like a divorce, the passing of a loved one, or losing your job. Who would you turn to for advice? Someone who has never been through what you're facing and can't truly understand, or someone who can relate to your situation? Definitely someone who understands. You trust people who listen to you and value their advice. Whether it's a doctor or a friend, you place your trust in those who grasp your struggles. A key to this understanding is through listening. If that eye doctor had truly listened to you, they would have a better idea of how to help you rather than offering random glasses as a solution. Speaking of listening, the most impactful way to listen is empathic listening, and achieving this requires a change in how we approach conversations. Typically, we aim to be understood instead of seeking to understand. At any given moment, someone is either speaking or getting ready to speak, rather than preparing to understand. Communication experts explain that only 10% of what we communicate is conveyed through words. Around 30% is conveyed through sounds, and a significant 60% is conveyed through body language. By replacing our usual responses with empathic listening, you'll realize that true understanding doesn't always hinge on the words used. Instead, it involves sensing the emotions and meaning behind those words. What feelings are being expressed if we set words aside? While this skill takes practice and time to develop, it's entirely possible to learn how to listen empathically. Once you master the art of seeking to understand, then you can work on being understood. When we genuinely understand the other person, we can communicate effectively and present our thoughts in a way that builds trust and credibility, rather than breaking down the other person's perspective. Habit number 6, synergize. Every individual is unique, right? Our world would be quite dull if we all shared the same thoughts, and we couldn't learn from one another. Actually, we rely on each other. In the last section, we talked about understanding and listening to each other for effective communication. Now, let's shift our focus to collaborating with one another through the principle of team execution. This principle emphasizes that we need each other to thrive, and both being independent and working together are essential for successful interactions. When you understand and appreciate another person's point of view, you create room for synergy. Synergy means that when individuals combine their strengths, the result is more significant than if each person worked alone. In simpler terms, two heads are better than one. While everyone thinks differently, each person brings something valuable that can contribute to the greater good. Synergy enables you to explore new possibilities that are endless. It encourages you to embrace differences and find ways to unite in solving shared challenges. So, how can you start embracing synergy within your team? Begin with habits 4 and 5. And aim for win-win scenarios while making a genuine effort to understand those around you. By appreciating the diverse perspectives and viewpoints of each team member, you can start building something that goes beyond your individual abilities. For example, think about blockbuster movies like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. These movies are the result of collaboration among creators, designers, writers, and more. Each team member brings unique strengths that contribute to the overall success. By valuing the various mental, emotional, and psychological differences between individuals, you can start synergizing and achieving outcomes beyond your personal capabilities. Appreciating these differences requires time and patience, especially when dealing with individuals you might not get along with. But why is there a lack of harmony? It could be due to differing perspectives. How can you begin to be open to these differences? Start by listing people you struggle to connect with. Pick just one person and identify how their views differ from yours. How can you find a point of synergy between your perspective and theirs? How can you develop a more open-minded and confident attitude towards their differences? Habit number 7, sharpen the saw. Imagine chefs using their knives daily, chopping, slicing, and dicing until the knives become blunt. Do they just toss the knives and buy new ones? No, they sharpen them. Like a chef's knife, we also need to sharpen ourselves. We should dedicate time to our physical, spiritual, mental, and social well-being. By honing these 4 aspects, we can achieve lasting effectiveness. Taking care of your physical self involves eating healthily, getting enough rest, and regularly exercising to enhance flexibility, stamina, and strength. Staying active physically sharpens habit 1. Being proactive about your fitness rather than reacting to obstacles that hinder exercise. Focusing on your spiritual side doesn't necessarily mean following a specific religion. It's about reflecting on your life and being mindful of your actions. Renewing your spiritual self might involve meditation, prayer, or connecting with nature. This spiritual dimension can help you practice habit 2 by consistently refining your principles and core values. For mental well-being, you can read enriching books, maintain a journal of your thoughts and insights, and choose to watch TV programs that enhance your mind and life. You could also learn a new language or take courses to acquire new knowledge. There are many ways to nurture your mental growth. Prioritizing mental health also ties into habit 3 by effectively managing your time and resources. Lastly, tending to your social and emotional health is essential. Renewing your social self and cultivating meaningful relationships means striving to comprehend others, contributing to meaningful projects that better lives, embracing an abundance mentality, and aiding others in achieving success. By focusing on social and emotional health, you put habits 4, 5, and 6 into action. You adopt a win-win mindset, strive to understand others, and create mutually beneficial solutions through synergy. If you're wondering how to work on these 4 dimensions, begin by listing activities that align with each category to rejuvenate yourself. Choose one activity from each dimension and commit to completing them in the coming week. At week's end, evaluate your progress and consider what contributed to your successes or challenges. Hence, there are all the 7 habits of highly effective people. Let us recap each of them again. To become a highly effective individual, embracing these 7 habits is essential. 1. Be proactive. Shift from reacting to taking charge. Instead of letting things happen to you, seize control and accept accountability for your life. 2. Begin with an end in mind. Instead of working aimlessly on whatever task comes your way, have a clear vision of your future. Align your efforts with that vision to turn it into reality. 3. Put first things first. Don't waste time on tasks that might seem urgent but don't contribute to your goals. Prioritize and concentrate on important tasks that might not seem urgent but have a lasting impact. 4. Think win-win. Avoid thinking in terms of winning or losing. Instead, develop solutions that benefit all parties involved. 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Instead of rushing to offer solutions or opinions, listen with empathy to truly comprehend others. Then, communicate your ideas in ways that resonate with their perspectives. 6. Synergize. Instead of working in isolation, harness the strengths of those around you. Collaborate to create outcomes that surpass what you could achieve alone. 7. Sharpen the saw. Instead of overworking yourself, focus on ongoing self-improvement in various areas: mentally, physically, spiritually, and socially. Continuously nurture these dimensions of your well-being. Congratulations on finishing another book. If you like to check out other book summaries, please subscribe to Listen to Riches. Also like and share this valuable knowledge with your friends. Let us combine wisdom with practice to achieve our financial goals and create a better future. Thank you and see you in my next audiobook.